All right, so here we are once again, trying to get everything organized in the right way, in the right order, in the right time. And I think we're losing this battle. So I'm doing another. I, I'm calling them mukbangs. I'm not sure I'm doing what's traditionally considered a mukbang, but I am trying a variety of Thai foods. So I have I live in a section of the country where we don't get a lot of these types of things, and so I was I would be impressed. I am impressed that we have one, two, three, four different types of Thai food in the microwave section. But that's sort of like I don't imagine this is the only thing people in Thailand eat, and I'm sure you don't eat it the microwave versions of these things. But that is what I'm exploring tonight. And part of the fun of this for me is trying something that maybe isn't the way you would normally encounter this stuff, but trying what the American food companies consider a good imitation of. Maybe they don't even consider it a good imitation. Maybe they just consider it like, oh, well, these are Americans. They won't know the difference. But I want to try some of these ideas. And then at some point in the future, it would be kind of interesting to try to make the real thing from scratch and taste them. I will definitely have some favorites after I do this for each different type of food that I'm doing here. See if I can get the screen to capture some of this. So this one is the Thai red curry. Oop, Thai red curry. It's made with organic jasmine, rice, and vegetables. Now it's a microwave dinner cooked in a tray that's paper that has a plastic coating on it, so I'm not sure organic matters at this point. But all right, so the red curry, and I've got a few other dishes that I'll go over as I go. Come on, of course, the screen with the camera in it is broken, so. Interesting. Has the chicken in it? Or is that tofu? Ingredients: jasmine rice, organic coconut milk, butternut squash, broccoli, tofu. It's tofu. I'm not a fan of tofu, so let's see. Mm, it's it's a little bland. It doesn't have a lot of flavor of its own, and the sauce is a little light. It's a creamier than I anticipated. Oh, there's some seasoning in it. Okay, I'm getting some flavor off of it. It takes a little while. The creaminess of the coconut milk and the butternut squash, I think, dull the initial flavor so that I don't. It's a sequence of flavoring that I'm not used to. You start with a smoother, creamier. I think I got a big piece of tofu there, and that actually works for me. It's the right texture, which I mean, maybe that's not the way it's supposed to be, but I like some bounce to it. I like some chew to it, not like a mushy cottage cheese kind of touch to it. Kind of works. I can see this as a treat every now and then. I don't know that I can make this a regular staple of my diet. The flavor profiles are a little unusual for me. I could probably get used to it. It is tasty though. I mean, I've done butternut squash. I usually have that with a bunch of other vegetables. Uh, I use some coconut oil on it, so it's not super unfamiliar to me. But the coconut milk aspect of this, I think, is more than I'm used to having in the flavor profile. Makes it feel rich. And it gives a good impression of like a dairy too, without having any dairy in it. Tamari, carrots, safflower or sunflower oil, bell peppers, green beans, organic sauteed onions, brown sugar, cane sugar, cornstarch, red onion, spices, sea salt, jalapeno pepper. So I am getting a little sense of that, and the garlic. Maybe a little paprika and black pepper in there. So, yeah. I've never actually had Thai food before, so I don't have anything to compare this to. But if I find a day where I think my system's up to it, I could seek out real Thai food and see how it compares. Or learn to make a few Thai food recipes at home and see how I like them. Yeah, we don't get a lot of Thai food restaurants out in this area. I'm sure there are some, but it's so rare that it's practically avant-garde food. So it's probably going to be $30 a plate. So while we're doing these guys, this is the pad Thai, which is the one I hear everybody talk about, and I know nothing about. So I'm curious to see what that entails. So oh, this is the one where I took the flavor packet to mix it into that, and it was so pungent. No, this wasn't. This wasn't flavor packet. This was all microwave. Okay, so it does have a very similar smell to one of the other ones that I mixed up earlier. So I have a couple others. There's a Thai style peanut sesame noodle bowl, which is another peanut one. And then I have the peanut noodle carton, and then I have the tom yum, Thai style tom yum soup bowl. I think it was the soup bowl that had the concentrated seasoning was so pungent smelling. It was alarming. That pad Thai is actually really nice. Rice noodles, broccoli, cane sugar, tofu. So again, we're doing tofu, and it's okay. I can recognize it by itself. When it's mixed in with the rest of the dish, it passes pretty good for me. I don't care for the lack of structure. What is tamari? Water, organic soybeans, organic alcohol, and salt. So is it like a sauce? Mmm. Organic distilled vinegar. Organic cashews. Yeah, it's that distilled vinegar and maybe the cashews that have a real fun addition to that flavor that I kind of like. And there's the sugar in there. I'm sure that's kicking in some of my taste buds too. That reminds me. Wow. Pad Thai, sodium content, 760 milligrams. Ooh wee. The red curry was 780. So I'm already up at 2/3 of my, or no, I'm almost at my 50% of my daily recommended values for those. And we got 3 more dishes to go. Probably do the noodle carton next because I don't like the idea of things sitting long in a paper carton. I like that on the broccoli though. So that's a little sugar, some vinegar, tamari, and some garlic and onion. Coconut milk. Oh no, is that coconut? No, the pad thai. Noodles, broccoli, sugar. Okay, so it probably has more sugar than is desirable. Carrots, onion, tamari, vinegar, cashew, cooking oil, red onion, paprika, tamarind extract. I bet you that's where some of this flavor comes from. Garlic and black pepper. Ooh, 23% of your daily recommended carbohydrate intake. Just on the pad thai. Pad thai. Death is a And the curry only had 15%, so 44 grams instead of 69. But yeah, you can definitely taste the sweetness in this one. It's sort of like a sweet and sour sauce almost. What is tamarind? I'm gonna have to look some of these things up. So this will definitely be on the list of things to learn to make. Is tamarind like almost like a rind or something like that? Why do I feel like I know that term? This is going into the archives to play with the rest of them during the week that I upload these. But I am kind of curious to hear comments and ideas of what other people think of the different foods. If you're from Thailand or eat Thai food regularly, is this a good representation of what you would do? Or you guys do Big Macs and fries on a regular basis? I don't imagine if you're doing tofu dishes like these guys, you do a lot of Big Macs. And at least in U.S. McDonald's, they use some beef bouillon to flavor their fries. Okay, so this is the peanut noodle carton. Ooh, it's congealed pretty heavily. That's probably good because it was very soupy earlier. It's very thick now. All right, so stirred in the peanut powder. See how that goes. Now it just smells like rice noodles is what it smells like. The sauce is in there, right? Well, I taste the peanuts. Ooh, the noodles are a little mushy. Trans fat-free, gluten-free, no GMO. Okay, sauce ingredients: sugar, peanuts, spices, so chili powder, kaffir lime leaf powder, lemongrass powder, modified tapioca starch, salt, hydrolyzed vegetable protein. So it's TVP, right? Dextrose, which is corn-based, right? Tricalcium phosphate to prevent caking. Yeast extract. I don't know why you would put yeast in this, but okay. Malic acid. Coconut milk powder ingredients are coconut glucose syrup from tapioca, mono and diglycerides, dipotassium phosphate, silicon dioxide to prevent caking, peanut sachet, rice noodles, rice flour, modified tapioca starch. In Thai food, is there a lot of use of tapioca? Or is that just what they're using to get a sweet, soft starchiness? in these carton foods. I didn't think tapioca was something you did a lot of stuff with in large meals. This is different. I think the, well, I'm almost sure now, the coconut powder that I mixed in with the water is lending a sweetness. And it's got to be that glucose syrup that they mixed into it. It's sort of disappointing, honestly. Sodium, 610 milligrams, so another 27% of my daily recommended value. 27%. So I'm going to shrivel up like a prune after this because of all the salt. Total carbs, wow. This is almost 40% of my daily recommended value of carbohydrates. And 55% of my daily recommended value of saturated fat. Fascinating. None of this is good for you. And I'm sure most of that's down to it being microwave dinners. Saturated fat on the red curry was only, it was the exact same amount. So red curry says saturated fat, 11 grams. This says saturated fat, 11 grams. So right here between these two, I have 110% of my daily recommended value of saturated fat. Isn't that lovely? I'm giving you guys 110%. More, actually. What does the pad thai say? Pad thai says saturated fat, 1.5 grams, 8%. It's the coconut. That's where it's coming from. That's misleading because the saturated fats from coconut are a different type of saturated fat. Oh, wow. Those noodles at the bottom are very pasty, very gluey. I don't know if you can see, it's probably not the best shot in the world, but they're very sticky. Sort of like taking angel hair pasta, cooking it soft, sprinkling it with cornstarch, and when you pull it out, like you strain it, you sprinkle it with cornstarch, and the glue that forms around it is what this is. As much as this was easier to prepare, I'm kind of curious to try the peanut sesame noodle bowl to see how it compares. That one was a little more tricky to mix up and get right, but if it gives a different, less pasty version of these noodles, that would be nice. Because overall, this isn't bad, other than the texture and the pastiness of it. And I'm not usually a huge fan of peanut butter in foods. I think I overate it when I was younger. A few too many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches one summer, and I just didn't have the stomach for it anymore. Well, let me amend to that. It was a few too many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every night for every afternoon for an entire summer, during which I also drank from the hose, which has that nice hot vinyl plastic taste to the water. And somehow the two things got connected in my brain. And peanut butter just, it brings back flashbacks of not wanting to taste that taste anymore. Ooh. It is sort of satisfying, though. I think I might like this a little bit more if it had some spice to it. It doesn't have any real spice. It's just like pasty, sweet, peanut flavored noodles with a little bit of coconut sweetness in there. Okay, so we've sampled that one. Let's compare it to its cousin, the peanut sesame. Now this one will have 28% of my daily recommended value of sodium, 10% of my daily recommended saturated fat. That is very interesting. Oh, 89% of my, or 32% of my daily recommended carbohydrate intake versus 55% of my saturated fat and 37 of my carbohydrates. So this one's better. This one's worse on everything but the sodium. And by the sodium, this one's better by 1% out of 28%. So I'm already liking this one better. No, that's just before I've even tried it. So let's take that with a grain of salt. Sodium, salt. Ah. All right, so yeah, bad jokes are included for free. You'll thank me later. No, you won't. 3 people will watch this video and they'll be curious about some of this stuff. Maybe somebody will comment, and I'll go on about doing this anyway, because this is sort of a pet passion of mine, is exploring creativity in food and learning about stuff. So, ooh, it smells very peanutty, much more peanutty than the last one. Mmm. There's almost a little zing to it. Not quite a, not a vinegary kind of tone. Maybe it's vinegar, but got to give all that sodium a little water. But there's a, what do we got on here? This is interesting. I like this a little more. Wow, these noodles are not, okay, there we go. Again, tapioca. Some wheat gluten. So these are wheat noodles. Lactic acid. There you go. Water, peanut butter, cane sugar, dextrose, soy sauce. There, I thought I tasted some soy sauce. Sesame oil, peanut flour, rice vinegar, molasses, garlic puree, sesame paste, spices, crushed red chili flakes, rosemary extract, dehydrated cabbage, dehydrated bok choy, dehydrated carrot, roast sesame seeds, and glucose. Again, a lot of sugars. A lot of sugars on this stuff. But this had less carbohydrates than the other one. Right? Yeah. And the portion is a little more reasonable. That carton was half full. That was a lot of noodle. This isn't pasty, really. I mean, the peanut flavoring gives a thick coating to it, but it's not pasty. Yeah, I like this one better. It's got a little bit of that vinegar. I think the lactic acid and vinegar, I think, make a difference. Now, I don't imagine anybody who makes this stuff at home uses packets of lactic acid. So is it something you guys get from like is it a flavor that's incorporated in this dish when it's made? Is this one of those things where like a pickled cabbage or something is thrown in there to give it a little bit of that bite? My hair is not noodles. Much better. Like the texture of the noodle is better. The flavor of the sauce has more variety and a little more bite to it. I should be careful about using that term. It doesn't have a lot of spice to it. It just has a lot of character. Some of the zinginess from the vinegar, some spices in there, but not like a hot, burning spice. I was kind of curious about this because I can remember back in some of my college days where I hit the end of my food reserves in the cupboard and had a box of angel hair pasta, half a jar of crunchy peanut butter, and a jar of, I think it was blackberry preserves. And I thought to myself, well, there's not a lot of difference. I mean, there's some difference between pasta and bread, but pasta is sort of like a very thin strips of bread. And I had already heard, even at that point, of peanut sauces and recipes. So I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And I'd experienced the wonders and joy of a hot piece of toast with a melty, gooey bit of peanut butter on it and slices of bananas when I was younger. Hot, gooey peanut butter is good in its environment. But this is distinctly different. This does something different with the peanut. Like I don't feel like I'm eating peanut butter noodles. the tartness and the sweetness add something to it. And a little bit of that chili flavor in there that gives it a little bit of spice. Make it work. Ooh, starting to get full here. So this is rated as a mild. Oh, no, yeah. Mild to me. It's not even close to medium. The soup, however, is supposed to be medium to hot. So I'm very curious to see what that feels like. And this was a much easier prep time, too. This one was just add a quarter cup of water, loosely cover lid, microwave for 90 seconds. Let sit for another 30 seconds. Stir. Add peanuts and sauce. Stir well. And you're good to go, it looks like. That was a super easy one to make. Some of these others were more complicated. Mm. Crunchy bits at the end, yay! That's a slightly odd flavor at the end with the crunchy little gravel of peanut butter. Now, for the soup. Soup. Souparoo. Ooh, that's thickened up. There you go. The noodles are soaking up that broth. That's what happens when you eat over 40 minutes of time. So this one, tom yum. Ooh. Tender Hokkien noodles, bok choy, and shiitake mushrooms in a fragrant, spicy broth, with notes of garlic, red chili paste, and lime juice. I am liking the sound of this already. Sodium content, 53% of my daily recommended value. Wow, man. I'm getting about 2 days worth of my sodium, all right. Saturated fat, 0% of my daily recommended value. Carbohydrates, 18, so that's not super bad. Contains wheat, anchovy, shrimp, and soy. Okay, I'm curious now. We gotta go. I might need the fork. I thought it was gonna be a spoon kind of thing. Can you get a good shot of that? There you go. Interesting. Oop, there's the spice. So it's got a little bit of spice that comes in on the back end. Fish sauce. I think that's what I taste first. So, yeah, of course you taste the noodles. Again with the tapioca starch, wheat gluten, lactic acid, fish sauce, which is anchovy extract, salt, and water, red chili garlic paste, which is chili, peppers, distilled vinegar, and garlic salt, cane syrup, onion powder, lime juice concentrate. I'm not sure I'm finding lime. I mean, there is a little tartness in there, but not like an obvious tartness. Mushroom extract powder, ginger puree, tamarind paste. I gotta look that up later. Yeast extract powder, garlic puree. I think I feel like I can sense that. Shrimp powder. Okay. Green onion, bok choy, potassium carbonate, shiitake mushrooms, chili pepper flake, and sugar. Okay, so that actually seems like something I could make relatively easily. Well, maybe except the tamarind paste, the anchovy extract, and the shrimp powder. Like, what? Anyway, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Again, the noodles are done right. They're not like a super mushy noodle, and they're not like a starchy mass. Ooh, getting kind of full, guys. I don't know how other people do this. It's not a bad soup. Honestly, I think I'd probably be more inclined to just put anchovies and shrimp in there. Past that, the yeast extract. I'm wondering if you would do something like maybe a little miso or something like that in there instead. I think this and the pad thai are the two I would recommend the most. The curry wasn't bad. The curry was pretty good. I would say uh, tom yum, pad thai, and the Thai red curry would be three dishes I could see doing more often. The peanut one, it's okay as an occasional thing. I can't see doing that very often. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of like the peanut. I mean, we've got that. He's got that top hat, spats, a cane, and that silly little monocle. So I'm not a fan of that peanut guy. Little bits of mushroom. Some of those are a little chewier than they should be. They've been steeping long enough to get soft again. And I don't know if I can aim this so that you can see the broth. Let's not pour it on the laptop, shall we? It's a slightly orangey brown color for the broth. I wouldn't say it's like a chicken broth, but it's a little more like a turkey. It's not quite a beef broth. Maybe if you did like a beef and a chicken broth. Ooh, ooh, that last bit of sauce there had a bit of a bite to it. Alrighty, getting there towards the end. So this was my first impressions of Thai food by way of American food industry's microwave Thai dinners. Feel free to tell me how horribly wrong all of this is and how it's not what it should be. And the right way to do this is dot 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 fill in the blank, guys. I'd love to hear what I should be looking for. All right, so I think the next time I do a taste test is probably today too, because I've got to build a supply of these for the week to come. So the next one I think is going to be Indian food. I'm glad I tried Thai food. I was thinking Thai food had so many curries in it that it wouldn't be distinct enough from Indian food, but boy, was I wrong. A lot of that was really distinctly interesting. So I will see you for the next one. Take care and have a good one, guys. All right, so what do we do here? End stream.